He has done an incredible job on COVID or COVID-19 or about 19 other names we can call it. It's got probably more names than anything else you can think of. And he was hit very hard, and he hit back even harder.
That's President Trump praising Arizona Governor Doug Ducey at the White House over the state's coronavirus response. But many business owners in the state do not consider it a success story. A deadly surge in June followed the initial reopening of the state. Cases are down now that restrictions have been imposed again. Mola Lenghi shows us two businesses in Scottsdale, Arizona, struggling to stay afloat.
Almost 20% of the city of Scottsdale's sales tax revenue typically comes from visitors, and by far the busiest season is spring, before the brutal heat of summer sets in. But thanks to the coronavirus, hotel stays this past March through May dropped by 72% from last year, meaning this spring was anything but typical.
We have the spring training and a lot of activities going on here in Old Town Scottsdale, and really hit us at a bad time. 1 minute you couldn't even find a parking spot.
It's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town, correct, yeah. And that's really sad to see.
For the past 40 years, Eddie Bernal and his brother Teddy have run their parents' Pride and Joy restaurants.
My mom is from Zacatecas, Mexico, and my father is from Socorro, New Mexico. Combination of those two. You're actually getting Frank and Lupe's.
But the Bernal legacy doesn't stop there. Eddie's 19-year-old nephew, Teddy Jr., now works the front of the house through the most difficult time in the restaurant's history.
And they were talking about a 90% decrease in business.
90% drop.
And that's ridiculous.
Have you guys ever had a year this bad?
No, never.
The Bernals made some painful choices, laying off all but a handful of employees. They also adapted after their state shut down all dine-in operations.
We've had to grow our to-go orders, and that'll only help us in the future.
Okay.
That kept them afloat until the dining room reopened in May.
Thanks.
But then, Arizona's alarming surge in COVID cases devastated not just the family business, but the family itself.
We lost my brother due to the coronavirus.
He unfortunately tested positive, and he went to the hospital, and he was there for roughly a week. One night we got a call and saying, probably best if you come see him real quick.
Your dad's absence is felt now.
Definitely. He was the face of the restaurant, and he's one of the longest people here in Old Town, and so everyone knows him.
You're Teddy Jr. Oh, I'm sorry.
People come in every day and ask about him and ask how we're doing, which is a little hard to hear. Big shoes to fill, I guess you can say.
Yeah. How do you get up every day and...
Someone needs to do it and to continue the legacy.
Teddy Bernal's tragic death is felt beyond the walls of Frank and Lupe's. In fact, you need walk no further than across the street to the Blue Clover Distillery to see how it impacted this community.
When I heard about it, obviously our knees gave out beneath us.
What are we walking into here?
Weston Home has also been struggling to keep his 2.5-year-old restaurant and craft distillery alive. Not only did he have to close his doors, so did the 200 local food and beverage businesses carrying his gin and vodka.
That killed probably 65% of our distribution right out the gate right there.
And how'd you guys pivot? What'd you do?
So naturally the hand sanitizer was the easiest thing.
It turns out all the equipment and expertise needed to make booze can also make hand sanitizer.
We had a 2.5-hour wait for the first 2 weeks that we launched it. I didn't realize that many places were out of it at that time.
And the hand
sanitizer is what's keeping us floating right now, absolutely. We're just breaking even to keep the doors open so that I can keep my dream from dissolving.
And in keeping his dream alive, Holmes' innovation helped his neighbors too.
People would come for their hand sanitizer and then come to us for a taco or margarita after. When they'd have their line for hand sanitizer, that's when we'd be busy.
A tale of two restaurants, both struggling with unprecedented loss, but both determined to survive, even here, under the blazing summer sun of Arizona. For CBS This Morning, Mola Lenghi, Scottsdale, Arizona.
And Blue Clover Distillery plans to keep making hand sanitizer as its business rebounds. And in fact, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce says that there's 60% of businesses, small businesses in this country, are worried about closing permanently because of this pandemic.
None of these restaurants can stay in business or make money based on the number of people coming in right now. But those that are trying to hold on, Just hoping that rebound comes eventually.
Yeah, wishing them the best of luck.